We are live from the MMA War Room. Chris Schroyer, Shrikar Rajendran. You know what time it is. Sunday night, late night recap for UFC Mexico City, where we saw a decently big upset in the flyweight division. Unranked Lone'er Kavanagh, fresh off getting knocked out by Charles Johnson at UFC Shanghai, makes an epic return to the octagon and takes down one of the best flyweights of all time. And I think we can call him that. He has done a lot for the division in Brandon Moreno. And he looked pretty dominant, to say the least. We also had a few debuts that went fairly well. One being Regina Taryn. Absolutely electric fight with Ernesta Caracate. I mean, that was so worthy a fight of the night. Just to list out the performance bonuses. Fight of the night went to Taryn and Caracate. The performance of the night went to Imanol Rodriguez, who also made an epic comeback against Kevin Borjas, getting knocked down 2 times in the first round, coming back and getting the finish. And then none other than Lone'er Kavanagh in the main event. Shrikar was able to catch most of the fights, pretty much all of the fights. So when I ask him this, he will be able to answer truthfully. But what do you think of the card? How do you think it went? Do you think it lived up to kind of what we were saying on the prediction stream? You know, not over the top crazy, but fairly solid.
Yeah, I think you described it well. That's kind of just what it was. Good Mexico fight night. I think the crowd was definitely into it. Obviously, the life got sucked out of him when Lonnie won, but so it goes. Overall, though, I thought it was decent. So full disclosure, I did not watch the card on Saturday night. I only watched the main event, and that was kind of it. So I rewatched. I went back. This is the joy of having Paramount Plus. I went back and watched the fights. So what I'm talking about is not blasphemy coming out of my mouth. But yeah, I thought it was a decent card for sure, and I can't wait to break it down. We're gonna go top to bottom here, full card recap, and we're gonna start at middleweight. Bro, Damian Penis nearly kills Wes Schultz. Not even exaggerating, Chris. What do you think of this absolute slaughter to start the night?
I think the entire collective war room was wrong. What is up, Tyler? Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, what's up, Tyler? Welcome to the stream. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I think that Damian Penis is legit. I mean, this guy, the striking is unmatched. We were all wrong. We all picked Wes Schultz. We thought that he was going to be able to grind out a decision, even potentially a submission victory, especially in the high elevation of Mexico City. It didn't even get to that. That's a good one, Tyler. that one made me laugh. But yeah, I mean, Penis came out pretty strong. I mean, Wes Schultz, he actually didn't look bad in the first minute and a half of the fight. He was keeping the distance. He actually was throwing a good amount of kicks, some high kicks, low kicks, mixing it up fairly well, trying to keep Damian at range. But once he started throwing strikes, and they were very calculated, it was just the 1-2 that Schultz was not able to deal with, and they were crisp. And he wasn't even hitting him with crazy power, like the crazy power that we've seen him display in the octagon. They were just very well-timed shots right on the chin and the temple, and Schultz was knocked down, I think, 2 times, and they were bad. After the first one, it really could have been finished. He was dropped, and he instantly covered up. I forgot who the ref was in the fight, but he gave Schultz a fighting chance. Schultz was able to grab onto a single leg, honestly tried a little Granby roll to get a leg lock, and Penis was just very well versed in the ground. He knew he had very good defensive tactics. But yeah, I think that Damian is legit. He is going to be a problem, and the sky is the limit for him. He's just going to keep evolving, especially in the ground game. But it would be nice to see him face a very well-versed grappler, an accomplished grappler, someone with more UFC experience. But if the fight stays on the feet, he has a damn good chance of winning that fight, and he displays it every time he's in the octagon.
Yeah, I know a lot of comparisons were flying around with Damian Penis and Ateba Gautier. because they were both African prospects. One was from Aruba, and where is Ateba from? He's from
I think he's
Congo?
from I think he's from Cameroon.
Cameroon. Sorry,
Yeah.
Cameroon. So I think I'll say this. I get the comparisons. I think Damian Penis is like if Ateba was more technical and a lot more further along in his maturity. I think that's what Damian Penis is. Imagine we get a champ named Penis. I think it could happen. I think Damian could really make a pretty wild run starting right now. But I think in terms of the matchmaking, I think a slow climb is the smartest play. You don't want to rush him, but you can definitely give him a vet in his next fight. Someone like Ozzy Diaz makes a ton of sense to me. Diaz doesn't really have the long-term upside, but he is a known name. He is a test. If Penis runs through him too, I mean, now we are really cooking. Or the UFC could just do UFC things and throw him someone making their debut, or how the UFC gave Ateba Tristan Vines, something like that. Either way, nasty win from Damian. I'm super hyped for him. As for Wes Schultz, he got mogged. He got mogged to the max. I mean, he's gonna be very lucky if he stays on the roster. They might keep him for one more. I don't see them cutting him immediately, but if they do keep him around, give him another fight where it's like, okay, you have to prove that you're UFC level, and we're going to put you up against another guy that we may not think is UFC level, So throw him in there with another struggling guy. And we'll see who survives from there. But again, really good work from Damian Penis. I was impressed. We were wrong. I was so tempted to go just Penis by KO and just go with the chalky play, but we don't do that in the War Room. We don't. So if we're wrong, we bite the bullet on it, and we're all biting the bullet here.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it better. I like the Ozzy Diaz fight for Penis, and I think that that was what they did with Jordan Santos, another Contender Series alum who had decently high hopes, and that was a good litmus test to see where he was at. And he lost to Ozzy Diaz. So yeah, I think we'll get a good focal point to see the level of Damian Penis. What's up, bro? How you doing, my guy?
What up, gang?
Welcome into the stream. But yeah, I thought it was you always want to start the fight with a fight night with a finish, gets the fans excited early. And speaking of finishes, we had back-to-back finishes on the prelims. Francis Marshall makes quick work of Eric Silva. This fight really doesn't have too much you can say about it. I mean, Francis Marshall went out there, took care of business, did what we expected. It was a little bit of a slow first round, landed a takedown, got back control, and landed a rear naked choke. I actually think, Shrikar, you predicted a rear naked choke from Francis Marshall.
Hell yeah!
Applause.
Actually, I don't know if I did, but
I'm pretty sure you did, because you predicted the choke, and you said submission. I'm pretty sure you said rear naked, because I don't remember you saying armbar or triangle. I'm pretty sure you said RNC. So
okay, fire. I'll take it.
Round of applause.
Round
of applause for Shrikar. People forget Marshall versus Santos is the worst robbery in history. Yes, thank you. I will die on that hill. If you want to go watch a funny video, you can go watch Shrikar, our friend Terrence, and I do a betting show for our alma mater, Syracuse's Citrus TV. And I picked Francis Marshall money line. I threw 15 imaginary dollars on it. I thought it was free. We did really bad on that card. I thought it was free. And when the judges read Myron Santos, I was about to lose it. I've never felt so mad in my life. I was pissed. And we've seen how good Myron Santos is. He's legit. And I think that speaks to the level of Francis Marshall, that he was able to take that fight to Myron Santos and put up that performance. And I thought it was a dominant performance. Regardless, Eric Silva coming back from 2 years off. He's 38. He's struggling. I feel like this might be the end of the road or very close to it for Silva. I don't really know where the UFC wants to go with him. But Francis Marshall, he's always had the talent. I know he's had it in him. He's got off to a little bit of a rough start in his UFC career, but he's fought good comp. It's not like he's losing to bad guys. I mean, his 3 losses in the UFC are William Gomis, who is also a very promising fighter in the featherweight division, Isaac Dulgarian, before, the scandal, and then quote unquote loss to Myron Santos. So I think that he is still legit. And he's still young. He's 26. I really think that he's going to have a bright future in this division. And he gets it done against Eric Silva in a pretty emphatic way.
Yeah, this was a setup, just complete mismatch. Silva did catch Marshall with that spinning kick in like the first second.
Yeah.
And I know people were like, "Oh, you rocked him." And no, he didn't rock him. He off balanced him for a second. That's kind of it. Marshall immediately just starts pressuring, gets it to the ground, starts controlling position. And Silva was actually defending the arm triangle pretty decently at first. Like, his jiu-jitsu defense didn't look terrible. But then he kind of just fumbled the bag trying to force his way back up. And Marshall was just able to strangle him from there. Round 1 submission, game, set, match. So Marshall's definitely a fun 145er. I know his record in the UFC is kind of ugly, but he's one of those dudes that's just getting better every fight. And yes, he did beat Myron Santos. Myron is a blue chip guy. And I like that he's at American Top Team now, and that room is loaded, especially for featherweights, lightweights. He was working a lot with Grant Dawson. You can definitely see that. I think the grappling control was very clean throughout. In terms of a next fight, give me Jack Jenkins versus Francis Marshall.
That would be such a banger.
And the UFC is going to Perth in May, which, by the way, main event, JDM versus Carlos Prates.
Banger.
Me and Chris are obviously fans of that. That is going to be an absolute banger.
Yes.
We are so stoked for that main event. And we will be waking up at the butt crack of dawn to watch that fight. All right? Yes. We don't care what time it is. We are going to be watching that main event. But on that same Perth card, Jenkins will probably be on it. Marshall took basically no damage in this fight. I mean, this matchup is not that crazy at all. If Francis Marshall can make that quick turnaround, I see no reason why you can't do Jack Jenkins. For Eric Silva, pack your bags. See you later. I'm sorry. He's done in the UFC, frankly. This was kind of it for him.
Yeah, I think this was the end of the road for Eric Silva. And Francis Marshall, I love the Jack Jenkins fight, especially if they can get that done for Perth. If it's not able to be done for the Perth card, I was thinking someone like honestly, I would love to see a Con Offley fight. I think that would be a good fight for him. And I did matchmake this guy with someone else last week. I'll try and remember, but I think he's deserved a fight with like a Christian Rodriguez. I think that could be a very good litmus test for him. Kind of push his name up the unranked pool. But yeah, Francis Marshall back in a big way. Very well deserved. We've known the skills that he possesses, and he goes out there and displays it every time in the octagon. Even the fights that he loses, it's always close. He never really gets blown out of the water. But yeah, I thought that was a very good performance from him. And speaking of good performances, Rahina Taryn, man, oh my God. She is legit. 21 years old, short notice debut in her home country, and goes out and has an absolute slugfest with Ernesta Caracate. This fully deserved to be fight of the night. You could have given it to Moreno versus Lone'er Kavanagh, but honestly, the crowd was electric for this fight. And watching it, it was just every time they entered the pocket, it felt like someone was going to go out. And I think that I have to give credit to Ernesta too, to be willing to stand there and do it, stand there and, be Regina's tango partner. It always takes two to tango to have a great fight. And they were definitely both game. But I mean, these women just had no fear in that octagon. One thing that I took away is Rahina. I mean, the striking is amazing. It is superb. if I'm being completely honest. And Cara Kate, I mean, she's also a very solid striker. And there was no chance that there was going to be grappling in this fight from the opening buzzer to the ending bell. I mean, Rahina, she just went in there and she did not care about eating shots. She's like, I'm going to eat 2 to give you 4. And that just is really how it felt. She really possesses the Mexican fighting spirit, and it's awesome to watch. I mean, I really just couldn't have been more impressed, especially with a prospect that's this young, taking a fight on short notice. And about a month or 2 ago, she was about to sign with the WWE. UFC might not have even been in her cards. And for her to completely switch up on that and come to the best MMA promotion and perform like that in her debut, I honestly almost was speechless. It was just so fun to watch. Shrikar, what did you think of the fight? Because that was such a banger.
Yeah, so full disclosure, I went on the pod, I picked Ernesta. If you guys follow our socials down below, we put up a graphic with our final picks for the card. I flipped to Taran after the weigh-ins just because I was like, Mexican fighter in Mexico. If it goes to decision, I wasn't going to bet against a Mexican fighter. So I flipped to Taran. It was something I mentioned on the podcast, and I ended up doing it. But yeah, Regina and Ernesta put on a banger. Very, very glad they got fight of the night. Unfortunately, Bobby Green and Damian Pinas couldn't get the 100K, but I'm still glad that they gave fight of the night to these two, and then they just did Lonnie and it was Lonnie and Imanol for the other 2 bonuses. I'm happy with that. I guess for potential matchups, you could do a fight between Teresa Bleda and Taran. I'm trying to think because I'm not really sure where they go from here with her, but I think Bleda is a good step up. It's a winnable fight for Taran. It'll be another banger. And yeah, that's really all I got to say about that. I thought this was an absolutely amazing fight. Definitely one of the best fights of the year. I feel pretty confident saying that so far. We're in March. But yeah, I think this was an absolute banger.
Yeah, no, I like the Teresa Bleda fight. I think that could be good for Taran. And I don't think that Ernesta should be hanging her head low after this fight. I mean, she went in there and did everything she could. Taran was just game from the beginning. And I think that, I mean, if people weren't excited for this card before that, they were definitely excited for what was to follow, because it really was not a bad card. It really wasn't. And then you follow it up with another great finish from Javier Reyes, another guy who proved the entire war room wrong. We all picked Douglas Silva de Andrade, who had a great moment in the first round. Nasty overhand right to drop Reyes. Didn't really follow it up. Let Reyes survive, and Reyes got up and made the most of it. And I think he really changed our opinion. I don't want to speak for you, Shrikar, but I mean, he definitely changed my opinion on where he's at as a fighter. We talked about the experience. He was 22-5 coming into this fight, now 23-5. And to see him face adversity like that against another grizzled vet in Douglas Silva de Andrade, minus the 2-year layoff and minus him being 40 years old. I mean, this guy's been in the octagon. He knows how to fight, and he possesses crazy power like we saw. But for Reyes to come back, display the striking that we know he has, I mean, and even I think he got a takedown. Yeah, he shot 1 of 2 takedowns. I mean, he was just all over it after getting dropped. I mean, he really sensed the urgency, and when he did drop Douglas Silva de Andrade, he got right to it. He did not waste time. He was able to flatten him out, and it was a close call at the bell, but I think it was definitely a deserved intervention from, I think it was Herb Dean. Yeah, it was Herb Dean. It was definitely a deserved intervention from Herb Dean, even though the shots weren't crazy damaging or crazy harmful. It's still adding up. And I think who said it? I think Brendan Fitzgerald said it on the broadcast that it's not the ref's job to, look at the clock and be, oh, there's 1 second left, so I'm going to let him survive. If he's taking shots without responding for 10 seconds, you have to step in, especially if he's flattened out like that. it was kind of like the Moreno Tyra fight. I mean, Moreno wasn't getting beaten to a pulp when Tyra flattened him out, but he was eating enough shots without response that it causes concern for the referee to step in. So I think that was, it was a little late from Herb Dean. There was a few late stoppages from Herb Dean last night, but Javier Reyes makes his entrance into the UFC in a big way and really changed my opinion on him. I think he actually could be pretty solid in this division.
Yeah, he changed my opinion too. This was a very chaotic fight. There are multiple instances on this card of guys just surviving crazy knockdowns. We're getting to the other one in a bit with Imanol. But Javier Reyes, I mean, I was too harsh on him. Because I actually went back and watched his Contender Series fight. He did look impressive on Contender. I feel like we didn't give that enough love. We kind of just brushed it off as, he was fighting a can and he was hitting the arms and, he was doing this and that. He looked really good on Contender, and I think he showed out again here. I think there's some very, very good things for him in the future. In terms of the matchmaking, low-key, I kind of like him versus like a Melsik Bagdasaryan when he's ready to come back. The last time we saw Melsik was against John Silva in Seattle back in March of last year. I think it's pretty much due time for him to come back to the octagon. Stylistically, I mean, that would be a very, very fun striking fight between, I would argue, two guys who don't really know how to protect themselves, I'll say. But it would be all action, a really fun fight, maybe for a fight night. For Andrade, though, I think retirement, brother. I really hate saying it, but you're 41. It might be time to just hang it up. I think Javier Reyes is kind of just shut the door on that. But again, I'm impressed by Javier Reyes. I think this is a guy that I'll be more high on going into the future. So I'm impressed.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, sorry, Douglas Silva de Andrade, but yeah, if you won this fight, we'd be talking about you in a different way. But yeah, you had a good moment. You can hang your hat on that. You dropped him pretty bad. You did drop him. But yeah, Javier Reyes, supremely confident in his striking ability too. He got dropped and his hands were still at his hips. He did not seem to think it was much of a threat. But yeah, I like the Melsik fight. I was also thinking of someone like who was I just thinking of? I could see like if Billy Quarantillo is going to come back, a Billy Quarantillo, or even a Hyder Emil 2-fight losing streak for Hyder Emil. I think that could be a good fight between two aggressive strikers.
I like Hyder. I feel like Billy Q might be a little too high for Reyes. Like, I think Billy Q is kind of in that Francis Marshall kind of realm. Yeah, I like the Hyder Emil matchup for sure.
Yeah, we'll see what the UFC wants to do with him because he is a vet. And yeah, Chris Moutinho loses again. But he survived. He made it to the end of the fight. I think this was just kind of a knock the rust off fight for Christian Quinones. He wasn't really trying to do anything too crazy. He did tag Moutinho multiple times. It wasn't over the top wow, but he definitely was nails from start to finish. Clear 30-27. Moutinho did a good job in the defensive grappling department. I think that Quinones, he could have got him out of there, especially on the ground. He did have a few submissions that were pretty much locked in and kind of just gave up on him. And then he was doing some very weird transitions on the ground where he would have position and side control and then just randomly go north-south. And he did that multiple times. And I was just super confused at what he was doing. But I guess it worked out in the end. He hasn't fought in about 2 years. So I think this was kind of just to get him back on track. That's how I viewed this matchup when I first heard it. But yeah, I think I don't know what the UFC is doing with Moutinho. I mean, I get it that before he lost to Malcolm Wellmaker, he was 4-0 on the regional scene, but I mean, 0-4 in the UFC. This guy is proving that he really isn't UFC material, and he might be fun to watch get knocked out or a punching bag for other fighters, but it just doesn't sit right with me. It just feels wrong watching the UFC do this to him. But Quinones, I think he came back in a solid way from his layoff, and I think that I would love to see who he's going to fight next. If you have any idea, Shrikar, but what'd you think of the fight if you were able to catch it?
Yeah, this one was a letdown. Even though the scorecards were lopsided, Quinones spent half the fight literally just running, like just on the bike, jabbing, avoiding exchanges. And then round 2 comes and he just decides, you know what? We're going to wrestle. He hits a single and basically never takes it off. Just lay and pray for 2 rounds. So yeah, he won, but I mean, this fight was hot garbage. It was not good at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you go Christian Quinones versus maybe a Cameron Simon. Like if they put him up against Cameron Simon, he is not going to be able to take Simon down like that. I think Cameron Simon has way better takedown defense. He's going to be forced to strike. And I don't love that for Christian Quinones. For Moutinho, hey, I'll keep it a buck. It's probably back to the regional scene, my brother. I'd be shocked if they keep him. They probably want O'Malley's win to look better. It just doesn't look better though.
Yeah.
After he got slumped by Wellmaker, it just degraded that win like crazy. It was a good fight though, but yeah, nah, I'm just not seeing it with Chris Moutinho. I think this is it for him.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it just doesn't feel right letting him get in the octagon with some of these guys. Like the Wellmaker fight, I prayed that he would be okay after. But yeah, I mean, Quinones, like I said, I think it was just a knock the rust off fight. And I feel like the ring rust was kind of evident. You could see it. Shrikar mentioned it. I mean, he was pretty much just circling around the octagon for most of the fight. And when he got on the ground, he literally had a rear naked choke under the neck and just said, nah, I'm going to let it go. It just didn't feel like he wanted to finish the fight. But I mean, I don't really think he had to play it safe against Moutinho. Moutinho did have one good moment where he did almost have a knee bar. So I'll give him that. He almost had it, but Quinones did a good job.
Hey, congrats Moutinho on your almost knee bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we found a silver lining in this performance.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll give him some props. Hey, I gave him props on the predictions video. It takes guts to step in the octagon with these guys, knowing that,
that's the hardest cope I've ever heard in my life. I could have said that about any fighter.
Hey, he's better than me. I wouldn't step in the octagon with these guys, even if I'm the same size.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it for that money too, but hey, yeah. Don't tell Dana I said that.
Yeah, well, would I do it for that money? Yeah, nah.
For a 10K? Hell nah, brother.
Yeah, nah. Yeah, absolutely not. But we move on to an actually pretty impressive performance from Ailin Perez, defeating Macy Chiasson in a 29-28 unanimous decision victory. Macy had a very good first round. I mean, Ailin did take her down, but Macy was able to work her way to the back. She spent most of the round in back control. Well, in back control, then into top mount. And I think that she didn't do terrible. Ailin wasn't real. She didn't over the top dominate the fight, even though it was it was a very convincing performance from Perez. She did display the grappling that I thought she would. And Macy's takedown defense, it almost felt non-existent. I mean, what is that? 6 for 10 for Ailin Perez. That's a pretty good clip. She's averaging 4 takedowns per fight. And for Macy, I feel like it might be a little bit back to the drawing board, because she should have been able to have leverage, but every time Ailin got close, and Ailin actually, she was throwing hands. She was not scared of the power coming from Macy. I mean, she was in the pocket and she was landing some good shots. But this fight went how I expected it to go. Shrikar, I know you took Macy. What'd you see from her, and did Ailin Perez surprise you in her game plan and how her execution went?
Oh, guys, I'm sorry. Picks is just rough for me right now. I thought Chasson was live. I took her, but it is what it is. Perez kind of just went out there and did what she had to do. I will have a bounce back. I know what I need to do. 326 and onward, I will be A-okay. I'm gonna make a comeback. It's fine. I made a comeback in like 2 weeks against these guys, and I was down like 3 or 4 going into like the Paris card. So I know what I'm doing. We're good. In terms of the actual fight, round 1, Macy actually did look great, as you mentioned. She hits a reversal, takes the back, controls the whole round, ground and pound. There was a sub threat. Her length made that back control super effective, but round 2 was just a disaster. I mean, she fights with this weird, like, she kind of just ducks. And it's just downhill, man. Like, she's way too comfortable falling to her back. Like, she literally chooses bottom position. I don't get it. I don't get why she's doing that. Perez starts taking her down, controlling, beating her up, holding her against the fence. Chasson just never really finds a way back into it. Just really, really bad display of fight IQ from Chasson. And yeah, my hype for her is completely gone. But I will give Perez her flowers. 6-fight win streak in a dead women's bantamweight division. And she's one of the few that actually has some real upside. So I'll give her that. Next fight, she made the call out. And honestly, I think it makes sense in the way that some of you may not think. Ailin Perez versus Tracy Cortez. No, I am not simping right now. This is not a simp pick. I genuinely think this should happen. I think Tracy Cortez should move up to bantamweight. I think she has kind of done enough at flyweight in the sense that there's no place for her in that division anymore, especially after getting subbed by Blanchfield. I think she should move up. And I think Ailin Perez is the perfect girl to meet her there. And if Perez wins that, she is in the title picture immediately. It seems like Norma Dumont, Jacqueline Cavalcanti, and Perez, like those are the 3 that are climbing right now. Kayla Harrison has to handle her business, and that's going to happen. But Perez needs a real contender fight, and I think Cortez makes the most sense here. And she made the call out. It was a good call out for what it's worth. And no, I'm not grasping for straws here. I genuinely think this is a matchup they could make. But yeah, give me Ailin Perez versus Tracy Cortez. I think that should be the next fight.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a good fight. And like you said, I think Tracy Cortez, she's kind of fallen out of the bantamweight, flyweight picture, excuse me. And I think that, just get some fresh blood in there and go to another division. Even though I feel she might be a little undersized for bantamweight, but not wildly. But yeah, like
no,
you also,
I think her cake will balloon her up to 135 pretty easily. She also had to cut her hair on the scale to make flyweight.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, like her weight cuts were not that good. So
yeah,
I think she'll be a little more natural at bantamweight.
But yeah, I like what you said about Dumont, Cavalcanti, and Perez really rising in this lackluster bantamweight division. But don't forget about Jocelyn, not related to Leon or Fabian Edwards. Edwards.
Yeah, Jocelyn Edwards.
Yeah, I think that Perez versus Cortez would be a good matchup for the UFC to make, and that fight would definitely get a lot of attention from some people. But
I'll be paying attention, y'all. I'll be paying attention.
I'm sure that would be a good money grab for the UFC, and for both of those girls, but or women, excuse me. But let's talk about someone that's also on the rise, and it could potentially be meteoric. I don't want to say that yet, but he is legit to me. Ryan Gondra. I know Jose Medina is not good. I called him trash, and he kind of proved me right. But I think that Ryan Gondra is going to be a player at middleweight. I'm impressed with the super aggressive forward pressure. He has the striking ability. He also has a ground game. I really don't have much to say other than I just think this guy actually has a very high ceiling. And, I think I don't even know if the UFC has to slow cook him. I think that they could throw this guy in the fire right now and be pretty confident that he'll be able to take it to some of these highly unranked guys in the middleweight division. So yeah, Shrikar, what'd you think? I mean, this fight was pretty quick. It was 40 seconds.
Yeah, this was a public execution. Yeah, you mentioned, you said it. Ryan Gondra's a beast. This is the guy I'm definitely high on. Granted, he also got a layup, but
yeah,
it's going to be a lot of fun. I could kind of see him being in the same spot where Michal Olajaychuk is right now in this division, where he's kind of a fun fighter, where you think he's going to knock on the door of the rankings, but maybe they'll give him a lower ranked matchup and just kind of have him fight cans and he'll just knock him out. You know what I mean? I think he's kind of in that same boat, but he is going to be very, very fun in this division. Matchmaking wise, definitely a slow climb. Seems like the smartest play for the UFC. Hear me out. I don't think the UFC is going to do this. Imagine a fight between Ryan Gondra and Damian Penis.
Dude, that would be insane.
Like, they're both prospects, obviously, and both of them have one fight in the UFC. But, oh my God. I think Gondra would win that fight.
I think he could too. I was thinking of another prospect that I think could be a very good fight. What about Ryan Gondra versus Baisungar Sisarkayev?
That's also a good fight.
I would love, because Sisarkayev has a good ground game too.
Yeah,
and we've seen it, and they're both very solid strikers. I know you don't want to kill the hype of Sisarkayev because he came into the UFC with massive amounts of hype.
I'm not gonna lie, Gondra KOs Sisarkayev. I think he needs to hear it. Gondra will knock him out.
I think he might, because Sisarkayev, I mean, he's had some slow starts. I don't think you can do that against Ryan Gondra. This guy is pedal to the metal as soon as the fight starts. And if he puts you on the back foot, he smells blood instantly. So I would really like to see that. But I don't know. I don't think the UFC is going to try and kill Sisarkayev's hype with that, because his relationship to Hamzat and, just everything that he's been through in the UFC in his 2 fights. But man, would I love to see that. That might be a fantasy fight as of right now, but it's a realistic possibility. It is realistic.
Medina is low-key the worst fighter in recent history. There is a very strong argument. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, wait.
Very, very strong argument.
Quick question for you two, Tyler. Who is worse, Jose Medina or Chris Moutinho?
Oh my God, Medina. This is not even close. Moutinho actually had a good fight in the UFC. We have not seen Medina win under the TKO banner. He lost his Contender Series fight. He lost to Magomed Gajisulov. He lost to Dusko Todorovic in the first round. He lost to Gondra in the first round. He lost to Gautier in the first round.
But he dropped Dusko.
He's not good.
He dropped Dusko. Moutinho.
I don't care if he dropped Dusko. Chris Moutinho went 3 rounds with Sean O'Malley. You know what I mean?
But he got his ass whooped for 3 rounds, brutally.
Yeah, but Medina got his ass whooped by Magomed Gajisulov. Oh, yeah. What about that is more impressive than no. All he does is eat damage and do nothing. Yeah, Medina's not. I haven't seen even a glimmer of potential. I don't even know how he got into the UFC off a loss on Contender Series. What was Medina seeing? I mean, this guy's just a layup. He's just a layup for everyone. At least with Chris Moutinho, there's some intrigue of, can he pressure forward and stalk you down, and maybe he can throw you off in that way. Where is that with Medina? We have no idea what he even does.
Medina starts the fight at the fence, and within 5 seconds, he's against the fence.
I swear. He just gets backed up to the fence and he gets mauled. That's literally what happens. And in the rare case that doesn't happen, Dusko just locks up a choke, he's lost to absolute. Gondra's awesome, but and Gautier is too, to be fair. But nah, I don't see it with Medina. He's just kind of there as a can, but he still makes his way onto these Mexico cards, and he still makes his way on a He's got to go. He's got to go, man. Like, I'm done with this guy.
Yeah, it was that was pretty bad. I'm being completely honest. But
Like,
someone who
I think
wasn't
him and Moutinho is just like different worlds. Like it's just not close.
bad, which
Crazy
is
to say.
honestly, yeah, that feels blasphemous to say. Word to Stephen A. That feels blasphemous, but it's probably true. But another guy who is light years ahead of both of those guys, 21-year-old prospect Santiago Luna. Man, this kid is special. I thought he could have been the first person to finish Angel Pacheco. You know you're a can when the announcers only talk about your inspirational story and not any of your achievements.
That's what I'm saying. They were trying to gas up Medina, and all they said was, "Oh, he's a doctor. He has 4 children. He's a great father." As soon as I heard that, I was like, "All right, he's cooked." They couldn't say anything about him as a fighter. Hey, shout out to Medina for being a great father or a great person. I'm not shitting on that whatsoever. But if the commentary team can't bring up a single thing you did in the UFC, that's such a bad look. It really is.
The way his fights go, his family definitely owned a bakery.
And that's another thing. Why were they hyping up Medina and not the guy that was beating the crap out of him in 40 seconds?
Yeah.
They didn't say anything about Gondra. They just kept talking about Medina. Like, are they trying to keep him in the UFC? I don't know what's happening here.
Imagine they just didn't have a cut man for Jose Medina, and since he's a doctor, they made him be his own cut man.
Might as well. New career. Maybe he's the new cut man.
He could be. Hey, that's a way to stay in the UFC. Jokes.
Good Lord.
Always a good time in the war room. But yeah, a guy that's light years ahead of Moutinho and Medina combined is Santiago Luna, 21-year-old Mexican prospect. Absolutely pitches a shutout against Angel Pacheco. I actually thought that he was going to be the first person to finish Pacheco, but man, Pacheco is tough as nails. He's a hard guy to get out of there. But Luna, he looked crisp, man. I mean, the strikes, the combinations, the power that he was throwing too. I mean, it's kind of what we got. It's kind of the small sample size that we got from the Kwang Lei fight in at UFC Noche, but now we got to see it over 3 rounds against a guy who's never been put out in, I believe it's 13 fights. I think Pacheco was 9-3 coming into this fight, and Luna goes in there, and I mean he was just nails from buzzer to buzzer. I think that he's gonna be a problem at bantamweight, and it's very interesting and honestly awesome to see with these very young prospects, to see the level that they're at right now and be like, damn, like they're very good, and know that they're only gonna get better. Like he's only gonna get better. He's gonna be more battle tested. I mean, under 10 professional fights, and I mean, Angel Pacheco is a pretty solid opponent for someone like Luna to fight, even though his track record might not say it. I mean, they wanted to test him. I think this was a big test for Luna, to see where he was at, mentally, to see how he could deal with adversity of, not getting the quick knockout or the quick finish. And I think he handled the test and aced it. But yeah, Shrikar, what'd you see from Santiago Luna, and how do you think he's going to fit into this bantamweight picture in the future?
Yeah, Luna did his thing. Pacheco proved he's tough as hell because Luna was touching him clean all 3 rounds. Really good straight shots. The body work was great. He even rocked him a couple times. Luna also hit 5 takedowns. Like,
solid.
Yeah, he was 5 for 5 on takedowns. So here's the issue with me. He has no real passing game. Once he was in guard, nothing really happened. So it was more of like, okay, I'm just going to control and reset instead of really trying to damage Pacheco and finish the fight. Still 30-27 clean win. Luna's 21 years old. Like, he has a lot of time in the UFC to get better. He calls out Alessandro Topuria. He's not getting that fight. I'll tell you that right now. He's not getting the Topuria fight. But if he wants to be in a fight where he's going to be striking and it'll be a showcase, I'll pitch something to you. Malcolm Wellmaker is right there.
Ooh.
Another talented, unranked guy with some serious boxing. I mean, this fight would be pure hands. Santiago Luna versus Malcolm Wellmaker. No wrestling against the cage, no stalling, no weird clinch situations, no grinds. This would just be a violent, violent fight. And honestly, I think that is the kind of fight that will build a star out of either Luna or Wellmaker, either way it goes. So I think that would be a fight of the night contender as well. We just saw Wellmaker and Ethan Ewing put on an incredible, incredible fight. I have no doubts that Santiago Luna and Malcolm Wellmaker will do the same thing.
Yeah, I really like that. I was going to go in a different direction, but no, I think that's my pick. I love that fight. I was thinking someone, honestly, like a vet. I was thinking like Adrian Yanez or
that would be a good too. That'd be good.
Adrian Yanez, even a Ricky Simone, but that's a little deeper into the vet pool. But I think a Wellmaker. Yeah, I like how you pitch that too. We'll really get to see. I don't know if I even want to put it like this, like who's legit or not. But honestly, that fight might come down to that. Honestly, I wouldn't say a fraud check, but I would say, that would be a great litmus test to really see what level Luna's on for a 21-year-old and if what level Malcolm Wellmaker's on, because I mean, we saw how he dealt with the Ewing fight and he had his moments, but that forward pressure really got to him. And for a guy that's kind of used to just, waiting, being patient, but also having forward pressure himself, for him to be backed up against the cage like that, he did not fare well. And I think Luna's a guy that could do that to him. I don't think Luna's going to be very scared to stand there and trade with him because we know the striking ability that Luna has. It's very good. But yeah, I really, really like that fight. So I think that's a good direction for the UFC to go. But
Tyler's taking Santiago over Wellmaker. I don't know. I think Wellmaker would win, to be honest.
I don't know. That's a very tough one. I'm TBD for that. I can't even give my pick on that. I'd have to really do some tape study and see. But I mean, Luna has the grappling. We haven't seen Wellmaker grapple, but
I think Luna's combos are better, but Wellmaker hits harder.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's
like
tough.
That would just be such a crazy fight. Like I just think we have to see that happen right now.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very okay with seeing that fight. Another fight that I was very okay with seeing, Imanol Rodriguez performance of the night bonus and finish bonus on top of that in a very nice comeback against Kevin Borjas. Imanol, man, I mean, he went through a lot of adversity in that first round. He got dropped twice. And both of them were pretty bad. I mean, Borjas, look, his record might not show it, the results might not show it, but this guy, he's a very good striker. I know the Sumu Derji fight might have people thinking otherwise, but if you watch his other fights, I mean, this guy he's down to stand there, stand and bang with the best of them. I mean, he had an absolute war with Josh Van. His Contender Series fight was a war. And Imanol was game. He was just that much better than Borjas. Comes back, even in the first round, lands a takedown, gets position, and just starts unleashing hell on him from top mount. You know what's crazy? Even though Borjas landed 2 knockdowns, a judge gave Imanol the first round.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, dude,
that's Mexican judging.
What? I was just absolutely unbelievable to me. I really don't get it. I want to know what the qualifications are to be an MMA judge, and I might just have to take matters into my own hands and just do it myself. Because, like, dude, some of these scorecards actually have me questioning life. Like, is this real? Do you have money on Imanol Rodriguez, bro? or just crazy hometown bias. I don't get. I feel like if let me see what judge had this scorecard like that, because if he was if it was like a Mexican judge, then I just feel like you shouldn't be able to judge fights that you'd have like a bias in your own country. I just feel like that's criminal. But while I find this, Shrikar, what do you think of Imanol's comeback and how he handled the adversity? And then what do you also think of Borjas, man? Because I've talked about it. It's getting rough for him.
Well, I mean, he's getting cut. I'm sorry, Chris.
No.
Kevin Borjas is he's literally the king of the almost. Every single fight with this guy, it's almost. He almost beat Van. He almost beat this guy. He almost beat Sumudarji. He almost beat Imanol. He just almost beats guys, and that's not going to cut it for me. So I'm sorry. I have no idea how Imanol survived that early just onslaught from Borjas in round one. But yeah, I just think Borjas has kind of just run out of luck here. There's only so many fights you can do. If you don't get on the right side of one of these, it's over, man. It's over. He's 1-4 now. It's just tough, man. It's tough. I feel bad.
No, not Kevin Borjas.
I definitely think there's some real holes with Imanol, and sooner or later we'll see if he patches it up. But I chalk it up to Borjas also. Like, he's good competition. Like, this is a very, very tough debut for Imanol, and he passed the test. It is what it is. He passed the test. I do want to see a little bit more, though. It definitely shows me something, though, that he survives that knockdown and he finds a finish. But he's raw. Imanol is a very raw prospect. You can see it. There is real potential, but I think it's going to take time. I think the perfect next test for him would be, I was thinking Hyun-Sung Park. I think, a guy who's super technical, who's very calm, a dependable guy. He's not going to make it a chaotic fight unless you force it. So if Rodriguez can go out there and win a clean technical fight against Hyun-Sung Park, that's going to tell us a lot about where he's at. So I view that as the litmus test for Imanol Rodriguez, even more so than this Borjas debut was, because obviously there's a lot of things that were exposed in this fight with Imanol. He's not some world beater yet. He's not indestructible. Like, he is a guy that still needs a little bit of slow cooking to him. But I think Hyun-Sung Park is just enough of a step up where it's like, okay, this is a good stylistic matchup for both guys. Both are really going to bring it on the feet. Obviously, Hyun-Sung Park, not one to go to the ground with anyone. We saw what Tyra did to him. We saw what Bruno Silva did to him as well. So I think Imanol would be a good fight for him, and that it would probably stay on the feet. But if Imanol wants to take it to the ground, the avenue is there, my man. Like that, the path is laid out for you to do so. So I would be interested to see how he attacks it. That'd probably be the matchup I'd go with next.
No, I definitely like that. I think that would be a good litmus test for Imanol Rodriguez. I know I've said that a lot in this stream, but I feel like that's the best way to put it. That would really show us where Imanol is. Also, it could be a good opportunity for Hyun-Sung Park to get off this little losing streak that he's on, taking that short notice fight with Tyra, and then, a fight with Bruno Silva that he honestly could have won, probably should have won, and just didn't come out and fight to the ability that we know he has. But I did my research. It was Raul Salas who gave Imanol Rodriguez the first round. He is a Mexican MMA judge.
I knew it. Yeah, of course.
I know I said that I don't think that like people from the region should be able to judge fights, and technically that would apply to America, but I feel like that's different because I haven't seen bias like that
because we have more diversity in America.
I guess, but I feel like when you go to these places like Mexico or France or even Perth sometimes, I feel like these judges, I mean, the hometown bias is just crazy, man. I mean, we're
about to go to London soon. So
yeah, I mean, sometimes London, I don't think London's been as as bad, but
There's been some bad cards in London.
I'm sure. Yeah, if I did some research, I could definitely find some rounds, some scorecards, and definitely rounds where it's like, dude, what are you watching? But giving Emanol Rodriguez the first round in that fight is absolutely criminal, and I just can't get behind that. Even though he did have a very good second half of the round, 2 knockdowns should basically seal the round. Even if he got knocked down, even if he knocked down Borjas once, I still think it should have been Borjas's round. But yeah, regardless, that's my little spiel. That was my little rant about foreign judges. But another fight where it was a split decision, but personally, I think Edgar Chairez did enough to win this fight. Edgar Chairez wins against Felipe Bunez by split decision in a pretty close fight. It was very close. That second round was 100% up for grabs. Bunez came out to play, man. In the first round, he looked very good. He was piecing up Chairez, doing very good in the grappling game as well. It felt like Chairez just couldn't really get anything going. He was waiting for Bunez to make the first move, but Bunez was making the first move and kind of stifling Chairez's plans to counter and really do anything off that. Second round was a little bit of the same thing, but Chairez started landing more. He was landing powerful shots, getting out of neutral positions against the fence, and really just working it, not trying to survive, but also trying to, impose his will on Bunez. And then I think the third round was clearly Edgar Chairez. Yeah, Tyler, I definitely agree. I think he just had more grit. He was willing to stand there and throw, and he wasn't scared of what was coming from Bunez's way. But I think that it was a solid fight. It wasn't, oh my God, crazy, but I think that it was a very, not very, I would say it was a solid performance from Edgar Chairez, and Felipe Bunez. He got to go back to the drawing board. At least he wasn't on the ground for 11 minutes this time, like he was against Rafael Estevam. But Shrikar, what'd you think of his fight? Did you think that Chairez did enough to secure the split decision?
I'm kind of just more disappointed. I thought this was going to be an Edgar Chairez blowout, and it wasn't. Round one, the striking was definitely competitive. Then Bunez gets the back body triangle, controls the entire round, gets some elbows in there, definitely threatens with the rear naked choke. He just takes the round. Round two, Chairez starts finding rhythm, definitely some better body shots, better combos, just starts to take over. Round three was close, but I think Chairez finished strong with that big blitz, and I think that's what stole it. But I think my issue is Chairez looked way more hesitant than I would have thought.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely looked like he was overthinking, a little nervous, not the dangerous fast starter I thought he was. So now I'm like, did I overrate Edgar Chairez a bit? I don't know. But razor close fight. Here's the thing. Chairez, I will say, has definitely earned someone with a number next to their name at this point, because his only UFC losses are to the two guys fighting for the title next. He's only lost to Vanantira. So it's not like he has a bad loss on his record. So I can keep it simple here. I think whoever loses between my boy Energy, Charles Johnson, and Bruno Silva, I think the loser of that fight gets Edgar Chairez. And I think it's a fair matchup. It'll keep the division moving. It gives Edgar Chairez a real chance to prove that he belongs in the rankings. And whoever loses that fight is going to be in a spot where they have to defend their position. So I think the loser of Charles Johnson and Bruno Silva will be taking on Chairez.
Yeah, I definitely like that fight. I don't really see too many paths for him other than that one. I mean, the top 10 is...
And also Bunez is getting cut. That's it. He's done. He's not good.
No, not Bunez.
Yeah,
I guess he is 1-3 now. But yeah, I mean, the top 10 isn't really booked, but I think there's a lot of matchups that are going to be made, and he doesn't deserve a top 10 fight. 10 through 15 is, or 11 through 15 is kind of wide open, but I mean, are you really going to give him like a Tagir Ulanbekov, or who else is even dwelling at the bottom? You could give him an Alex Perez, but is Perez going to be ranked?
Well, Perez should be fighting up. He just starched Charles Johnson. So.
Right, yeah. And I mean, you're not going to give him Namir Albazi, who is also in the rankings.
Steve Erceg is fighting Tim Elliott.
Yeah, Steve Erceg is definitely going to fight Tim Elliott. Jafel Filio is going to fight Lucas Roja. I mean, do you give him a Jose Ochoa? But I don't know. I think that fight is good because also Energy and Bruno Silva are fighting in 2 weeks, so that'll align them on the same schedule. So none of them are going to really have to wait super long. And I think Edgar should take a little bit of time off from this fight. I mean, he didn't take a crazy amount of damage, but just a nice couple month reset. But yeah, Bobby MF Green, bruh. He did it. I think this was a fraud check of Daniel Zellhuber. I fully do. What is going on with him, man? What is going on? He was one of the most promising prospects in lightweight. I think I put him in the A or S tier of our lightweight prospects ranking video. And that's a perfect plug because if you want to see how we rank all the best lightweight prospects, you should go check out that video because we talked about all of them. I had him pretty high. Sam and I both had him fairly high. I think he was in the A tier.
Y'all had him way too high.
Yeah, I had him way too high. He's making me eat my words. Minus 800 and lost to Michael Johnson his last fight. Minus 400 at close and gets knocked out by Bobby Green. Great performance from Bobby Green. He did everything that he needed to do. Great movement, stick and move. Hands down as usual. Talking massive amounts of crap. Emoting in the octagon. I feel like he did kind of everything that I thought he was going to do. I think that, he fought the classic Bobby Green style. Very, very good movement. Like I said, he's a great boxer. And I think he really just stifled Zellhuber. I think that it just frustrated Zellhuber. It made, I wouldn't say it made him hesitant because Zellhuber's been very hesitant in his past few fights. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's, some after effects of the Esteban Ribovics fight, but that, first of all, that was a year and a half ago, almost at this point. So I think Bobby Green just really frustrated him and he got out of pocket. I think he started swinging for the fences. He started really trying to go for it. And Bobby Green against the cage, I mean, Zellhuber had multiple opportunities to land very, very clean punches. And he landed a few, but the combinations at the end of them, he just couldn't find Bobby Green anywhere. And he did not utilize his kicks at all. I know Shrikar, that was a heavy emphasis for you in the prediction video of, Bobby Green, he keeps his hands low. It leaves it open for the kicks. And he didn't kick at all. I mean, Bobby Green, he was landing low kicks. He was landing great low kicks, kicking the legs out from Zellhuber. It just honestly looked like it was a levels fight to me. It was just I'm on a higher level than you. You need to really go back to the drawing board. And that's all I saw from Zellhuber. He needs to get out of this funk. It almost feels like Jailton Almeida, where it's just everything is being overthought. And we know the ability that this guy has. And it's just not being executed and shown in the octagon, if I'm being completely honest. What's up, Brody? Thank you for tuning in.
Welcome to the chat.
Welcome to the chat. Zellhuber was a great prospect at one point. He's still younger, so maybe he might turn around. But getting KO'd by Bobby in 2026 is just horrid. I completely agree. I mean, I think I still have hope for him. I'm not, like, the jury for me isn't out on him just yet. But this is a bad look, losing to Michael Johnson and Bobby Green back-to-back, two absolute unks. So, yeah, I mean, Shrikar, what'd you take away from this fight, man? It was
Bobby
brutal.
Green. Bobby Green had a similar moment that Jalen Turner had on him. Yeah, it was kind of like reverse roles.
Yep.
We told you guys in the predictions that Bobby Green was live. I didn't end up picking him, but
I did.
Chris picked him. He got it done.
What's up, Jason? Thank you for
Hey,
joining
what's
us,
up, man?
Zellhuber. I like that.
Yeah, he sold big time. I'll say it this way. If you take all the skill out of it, Bobby Green has hood jitsu. You know, like
he does, bro.
Sometimes that's literally enough to win you fights. And I literally think that's what happened here. Literally hood jitsu won out, you know. So I think Zellhuber is a very, very long fighter. But he is kind of skinny. I'd like to see him build into the frame a bit more. He's kind of weak. He has decent kicks, but his punches are just terrible. And he has no head movement, like such a lack of head movement. And the worst part is he's 6'1" with a 77-inch reach. And he's choosing to fight in the pocket with Bobby Green. You know what I mean? Like,
Bugging.
He has no jab, no range management, no hands, man. Like Bobby Green, he won round 1. He was landing cleaner. He hit some takedowns.
Yeah, not to mention he was taking down Daniel Zellhuber. Like, dude, come on.
Yeah, this is a horrible loss for Zellhuber, and I'm happy for Bobby. I really am. I'm not a big Bobby Green fan, but you know, I'll give him his props. That was rough. So I wanted to talk about this. Bobby Green calls out Michael Chandler, and Brody, about to answer your question right now, man. About to answer the question right now. Bobby Green calls out Michael Chandler for the White House. I don't think that's a bad call out. I've seen some people kind of go back and forth on it online. It kind of makes sense. It's kind of just up to whether Chandler wants the fight. I think it makes total sense in the fact that it would be a really fun fight. If Chandler's open to taking that step down, Bobby Green is still a good enough name for a Michael Chandler fight, if names is what he's looking for. Because if Michael Chandler is fighting outside the rankings, the big concern is they're going to feed him to a prospect. They're going to feed him to a guy that's kind of on his way up. I really like Bobby Green and Michael Chandler. I think it's a fight that Chandler should be willing to take. Obviously, people are going to clown him because he didn't get the Conor fight. Bro, we've been clowning him for like 3 years. I really don't think it matters to him at this point.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Another option they could go with, I think they could rebook Bobby Green and Diego Ferreira if they really want to see one more from Bobby before he gets that step up, because obviously they were booked to fight at 319 and that fight fell through. So if they want to do Bobby Green and Diego Ferreira, I think that would make sense too. And that would be a scrap. You look at the pressure and the toughness of Diego Ferreira. Obviously, he just got knocked down his last fight, but you could argue that was a very, very late stoppage, and he wasn't out until he was out. So obviously, we know what Bobby brings. Just very, very much a slick fighter. He has a lot of swag to him. In terms of where Zellhuber goes next, I have a good one for him. You go first.
Oh, wait. No, wait. You said you were going to disrespect him. Mine wasn't like disrespectful. Well, the first one I had is super disrespectful. I think he should fight Claudio Puelles.
That was exactly my pick. You're fighting Claudio Puelles, buddy.
Yeah, bro. Get ready to learn jiu-jitsu, buddy.
You're gonna fight a literal guard puller in your next fight.
Yeah, you're gonna fight the lightweight Paul Craig. That was the first one I had, and then I was like, ooh, wait, I have another idea. I also like everything you said about Bobby Green. I think that the Chandler fight could be awesome, but one thing I was thinking of, which I really think the Conor Chandler fight is not happening anymore, but if the rumors are true and Conor's more likely to fight on International Fight Week rather than the White House, I mean, they could fight on International Fight Week. They could do Chandler versus McGregor. That we're way far out from that, so I'm not gonna sit here and like spew my rumors that I made up in my head. But I was like, all right, Claudio Puelles. I really think that's his next fight. But another person I was thinking, I'm like, he just fought 2 unks. Why don't we make it a trilogy and have him fight Edson Barbosa? If he can't pass that, bro, I'm out.
If Edson wins, I'm just dying.
Yeah, no. If Edson wins, bro, I actually think they should cut Zellhuber. I'm so serious.
Like, hey, Brody,
crazy.
Brody, to answer your question real quick. Sorry, Chris, I had to cut you off.
Yeah,
To
no,
answer your question real quick, I don't think Zellhuber moving up changes anything because I think he has to fill out his frame at this weight class. If he moved up to welterweight, he'd be cooked. He'd be
he'd be taken down and ragdolled. But also, I mean, it's almost like it's just a skill issue. Like it's not like a weight issue. It's just a skill issue. I mean, you're getting taken down by Bobby Green, bro. He doesn't do that. He really doesn't do that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, lighter man skill. You're right. Well,
hey, shout out Rob Whittaker moving up. This is going to be a prime example of lighter man skill. We go watch our Rob Whittaker video if you haven't already. We are telling you guys, Rob Whittaker moving up to 205 is going to be a good move. It will be good.
No,
and
yeah,
because of what Tyler mentions all the time to us with lighter man skill.
Yep. But yeah, for Zellhuber, Zellhuber, he's trash, so it wouldn't help up a weight class. Yeah, I really just think
that's another reason it wouldn't help him.
But it's either Claudio Puelles or the Unk trilogy of Edson Barbosa, and if Edson wins that, God help Daniel Zellhuber.
I think that's where you call it quits. You're done.
It's like, oh my gosh. But another guy who doesn't really have to worry about that at all. He's on an absolute rocket ship to the moon. David Martinez, absolute dog. I thought he was going to be able to finish Chito Vera for the first time. Let's just skip Vera. He pissed me off. Yeah, that's valid. I'm sure he pissed a lot of people off. But yeah, I mean, I thought he's going to be able to finish Chito Vera. Chito Vera has not been finished in now 26 UFC fights. Dude has a chin of steel. But Martinez looked good. He was just better than Chito in every single aspect of the fight game. He did gas a little bit at the end. He was really trying to circle the octagon for that last round and get it over with. But I mean, it's still growing pains. He's still a pretty young is he in prospect territory? I feel like he's he's still super raw, but I mean,
this was his third UFC fight.
I know, and it's crazy that they're giving him Chito Vera in his third UFC fight, and he beats the brakes off of Chito Vera for the first 2 rounds. Just the striking is very crisp. The combos are crazy. He mixes it up, goes to the head, goes to the body as well. I really like the body work that I saw from him. And Chito, it was just classic Chito. I mean, it was just the slow start, the hesitancy. And in fights like these, man, you just can't do that. Like, this isn't a fight where you could counter strike your way to a victory. You have to be on the front foot. And I think I said it in the prediction video. I mean, if Chito is on the front foot, then it could pose some problems for Martinez, because Chito is a good striker and we've seen it before. But I mean, it's just, you're never going to win by letting the other guy go first, especially someone of the caliber of David Martinez. And I know there's not that much film on him, but I think we saw enough in that Rob Font fight to know what this guy is capable of. I mean, he's good. He is very good. And Shrikar said it. He could be a future champ. And I'll pitch it to you, and you can elaborate more on that. But what do you see from Martinez in this, and where could he go next? I think it's a pretty high place.
You can't win a 3-rounder when you try to read a guy for the first 2 rounds.
Exactly.
It's like Cheeto's trying to be Piotr Jan, but he just sucks at it. You know what I mean? And speaking of which, I got a bag of flaming hot Cheetos right now, which I'm actually going to crack open in honor of Chito Vera. And also because I'm hungry. But by the way, let us know in the chat. This is the best chip. This is the best chip. Flamin' Hot Cheetos are actually the best thing ever invented.
Flamin' Hot Cheetos are fire. Better than Takis.
But you know what's crazy? All of his coaches, everyone was saying, oh yeah, Chito is going to start fast this time. I didn't believe it for a second, bro. That just doesn't... You just don't flip a switch like that. I just don't think that's how it works. I will say, though, as much as I've hyped up David Martinez, and as much as I have said he's a future champion, he had a rough third round. He had a really rough third round. Overall, I'm definitely pleased with how he handled the test that was coming with Chito. But I just think that's something that could be worked on, and you could chalk it up to elevation. You could chalk it up to a lot of things, because his cardio looked fine in the Rob Font fight. And that was a fight that was very similar to this, in which he was kind of just working the entire time and he was on his horse. But this was just a classic Cheeto fight. This was exactly what we come to expect. No different than the Zahabi fight, no different than the O'Malley fight, no different than the Figgy fight. This is what we've seen from Cheeto the past however many times he's stepped into the octagon. He just doesn't press. He's so content letting the other guy go first that when you're going up against a guy who will win the exchange and the follow-up in David Martinez, you cannot afford to do. And it cost him the first 2 rounds. His saving grace would have been that 3rd round if he actually went for the finish, even in that 3rd round.
Yep.
But he didn't go for it until it was too late. So I think in terms of the matchmaking, Martinez is in a very awkward spot now because when you look at what bantamweight's looking like, he's a very dangerous fighter, but he is not, the champ. He's not the clear number 1 contender. The top guys probably don't want to fight him because there's not much upside for them. So it's going to be a tough sell, but what if they did Martinez versus Figgy? I think that's kind of where you got to go. And I know people, chat, you may not like me for this, but Figgy is definitely in a vulnerable spot right now. He's still dangerous. He's still explosive, but obviously he's not the same. If Martinez can get wins, this would be 3 straight wins over Rob Font, Cheeto Vera, and then you add Figgy to that resume. Like, that is a crazy 3-fight run in your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th MMA or UFC fights. So at that point, he's not asking for a top 5 fight. He's literally choosing his pick of who in the top 5 I want to fight. He can make any call out at that point and get it. I think that's kind of how you fast track yourself without technically being in the title picture yet. And I'm going to look at some matchups for Cheeto. I really don't know where they could go from here. If we're keeping him in the mix, I can look for a fight that might intrigue me, but like as far as Cheeto goes, they're going to do the same thing with him. They're just going to feed him to an up and comer. And whether that works out or not, he's kind of just in this endless cycle of, all right, I'm going to lose a fight in this way, in this manner. And, it's kind of just going to be cooked from there. So I don't know what you were thinking on the matchmaking side, but in terms of David Martinez, that's what I was thinking.
I love David Martinez versus Figgy. Yeah, I think we just need to see a little bit more from him. And another very accomplished guy in Figueiredo. I think that's the little bit more that we'll get, and we'll have a better picture of David Martinez going forward. And Cheeto, yeah, it's rough. I mean, he's like 1-6 or 1-5 in his last 6.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad. I mean, I wouldn't say that. I'm not going to say Wellmaker because Wellmaker, he just lost. So, but
okay. How about Alessandro Topuria?
Could do Alessandro Topuria. I mean, that's a good way to get another Topuria into the picture. But I mean, I was thinking, I think we just talked about him, or actually no, because he's in. Is he bantamweight or flyweight?
Whom?
Luna is bantamweight. What about Santiago Luna?
I think that's a very, very strong push for Luna.
It could be.
I mean, Topuria is coming off the Bexot win, and I don't think Luna and Topuria are in the same spots necessarily.
That is true. Yeah, Topuria is a little bit more polished, and I feel it. Yeah, we've seen more from him. I like that fight. I think that honestly that'd be a tough go around for Cheeto Vera.
Yeah. Hey, K Poots, welcome to the chat, man. Welcome to the chat.
Oh yeah, well, welcome to the chat, bro. When does Cheeto get cut? Probably if he loses.
I'll show you a Cheeto getting cut right now. Done.
Think. Ooh. What about Cheeto versus Jacob Wicklash?
That's another one where it's like, is Wicklash ready for, a shot up into like a Cheeto Vera?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of prospects in bantamweight.
Which, to be fair, I mean, Patchy Mix, say what you want. Patchy Mix and Muin Gafarov are 2 good wins to have.
Yeah.
He probably needs one more before that tier, though. They'll feed him some prospects to build from his name, even though it's worthless. Then he'll retire probably. Yeah, we got to really think about when Cheeto is going to call it quits.
Dude, it's crazy. I didn't realize he's actually like not that old. He's only 33.
And he's on like he's on a crazy downswing right now.
Yeah, he needs a win, to say the least. Dude needs a win. I don't know who he's going to get it from, but Cheeto was supposed to fight on UFC Iowa card I went to last year. Was sad it got moved.
Des Moines. Oh yeah, that was the Sanhagen Figgy card. Yeah. Hey, I hope that card was fun, man. I want to go out to another fight night, hopefully sometime soon. But I spoiled myself last year.
Isn't that when Figgy blew out his knee?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Damn, I'm trying to think what else was on that card.
Yeah, wait. All right, don't worry, Cade, because I got robbed of a main event too. I went to UFC Long Island, and it was Yair versus Ortega 1, and Ortega dislocated his shoulder at the end of the first round, and that was a terrible adrenaline dump for everyone in the arena. But,
oh my god, yeah, that must suck.
But in hindsight now, if you're still in the chat, are you really upset that you missed Cheeto? Are you really upset that you missed Cheeto?
I mean, this was last year, so.
Bo Nichols' mom and whole family sat right in front of me at UFC Iowa. It was so awkward when Bo got knocked out. Oh, that's rough.
Oh, yeah, that was Bo.
That's rough.
Dude, in Iowa, too, is so nasty.
Yeah.
That's so nasty. Oh, my God.
Ooh. That's
so nasty.
That's rough. That's a crazy experience, though, to have. That's
yeah, I've had the experience of I was at UFC Qatar, and I was sitting next to the Topuria family when Alessandro was fighting Bekzat. It's pretty crazy when you see these fighters' families and what like the mental turmoil they go through prior to the fight, during the fight, and after the fight. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. It's mayhem.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it's one of the intricacies of the fight game that I like, I like to explore a little bit, because obviously we saw on last week's Houston card, Fluffy brought his daughter to the fight, and she's like 7 years old. So I was like, wow, should a 7-year-old really be at a UFC fight watching her dad just get pummeled to bits by a guy like Sean Strickland? It's a little tough. Yeah. Some guy was talking shit to his family when he got knocked out. Bo Mom says she trains herself. Oh, he was cooked.
Mama Nickel.
Mama Nickel don't play at all, man. That's actually Nickel. So crazy. Why would you even threaten why would you go up to that's so corny. Why would you go up to a fighter's family after he gets knocked out and just chirp shit? Like,
alcohol makes you do crazy things.
Especially against Strickland. Yeah, so apparently Strickland, like, Fluffy's daughter thought Strickland flipped her off at the weigh-ins. And that's why she was like in shambles after Fluffy got knocked out. Like, that's so tough. That's so tough. But that's who Strickland is. I'm sure he went and apologized to her and everything. So
yeah. But wait, shout out No Bickle potentially fighting Colby Covington on the White House card.
Pretty much all but confirmed. We'll see if
that would be electric, to say the least. Getting KO'd by Johnson is the best base for flyweight MMA. Yes, I agree. I forgot who I saw tweet it, but someone said, someone tagged Energy and said, yo, you're knocking these boys into greatness, bro. He is. Getting knocked out by Energy might be the meta for a great run in the UFC. But bunch of fighters after UFC Iowa went out on the street smoking blunts with fans. It was insane. Oh, that's a low key electric.
I know Corey. I know Corey's high ass was out there.
Oh yeah, he was definitely out there. He was definitely out there. I'd bet money on it.
I would have loved to tap a blunt with Corey. That would have been fun.
But yeah, man, let's get to it. The main event: Lone'er Kavanagh beats Brandon Moreno in his hometown in a pretty convincing way. I mean, that was Lonnie's fight from start to finish, if I'm being honest. Guru said Johnson has greatness in his hands, but not for himself.
No. Don't do my guy Energy like that, man.
Yo, shout out Skullet Gang. Shout out Skullet Gang.
I hate the Skullet, but shout out my guy Energy.
Yeah, man, Lone'er Kavanagh, this kid is special. This guy is special. I always say kid, and he's older than me. I can't keep doing that. It's a
You
bad
won't
habit.
now, man. You're an unk.
Yeah, no, but man, he's the real deal. I mean, he made Brandon Moreno fight a very out of pocket Brandon Moreno fight. One thing I said to Shrikar was like Moreno didn't get over the top cooked. Like he wasn't well done, but he was a good medium well. I mean that left calf was cooked from the first 2 minutes of the entire fight. It was bad. And Moreno did not switch stances once. I mean, we never really see Moreno fight southpaw, but I mean, just to kind of preserve the leg, I mean, you at least got to try. Leg kicks won him the fight. I mean, I honestly can get behind that. Funny story about Brandon Moreno. My uncle sold him a house in 2023. I got Moreno's number. That's dope.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
That's so.
I'm sure he's a nice guy. He always seems like a class act, and I don't think he does not seem like a fake person at all. But yeah, I really do think the leg kicks made the difference. I mean, it completely compromised Moreno from the first half of the first round, and it just allowed Lonnie to tee off on him because Moreno, a guy that likes to be very mobile, was less mobile. And even though he was bouncing around and everything, you could see the damage adding up on the leg. I mean, there were a few times where Lonnie tapped the leg again, and Moreno, I mean, he almost crumbled. He limped. He was limping very badly. But I mean, Lonnie, man, it was just super technical performance. It was something that I knew he had, but didn't think he could execute it against a guy with the caliber of Brandon Moreno. And Moreno, one thing I noticed in the first round, even before the leg was really chewed up, is he was swinging for the fences, man. Like, when do you see Brandon Moreno ever do that? A guy who's pretty calculated, but I mean, he was swinging his hooks so hard that he was almost falling over. I feel like I've never really seen him do that. This is a guy that likes to throw straights down the middle. He'll get in tight, throw some body hooks, body uppercuts, and really just work the technical boxing aspect. But it almost felt like after, like, in that first round, that he felt that damage to his leg, and it was almost like he told himself, I need to get this over with because I don't know if I'm going to last. And I think that's credit to Lonnie, man. I mean, he fought the perfect fight. He really did. I'm super impressed with him. His takedown defense was awesome, up against the fence constantly, and really just was able to navigate through every position that Brandon Moreno had him in. And even in the rounds where Moreno was just holding him up against the fence, landing those little clinch knee shots. And yeah, that adds up, and it did steal Moreno a round or two. But I think Lonnie not getting taken down and just navigating it, getting the whizzer and his underhooks in. I mean, this is a different level of Lone'er Kavanagh that we saw or that we're seeing compared to the Energy fight. I mean, he looked great in the first round of the Energy fight, don't get me wrong, but he definitely slowed down. He slowed down in the second round, and it was very evident, and that's when Charles Johnson caught him. And in this fight, in a place where the elevation is 7,700 feet, I mean, it's so easy to gas, and he did not look gassed at all. Just super impressive from Lone'er Kavanagh. Shrikar, what'd you think, man? I think that this guy, he has the ability to do what he wants right now in the flyweight division. So I'm very excited for him.
Yeah, you said it well. My goodness, man. Lonnie is the truth. He is the truth, guys. And that's also why I'm willing to say Brandon Moreno is not washed. I think Lonnie is just.
Oh, yeah. Good. I forgot to mention that. Brandon Moreno might be washed.
Nah, I disagree.
I think he might be.
He's a very, very nice guy. His agent is same as Cheeto Vera. My uncle showed Cheeto a condo in Vegas as well. Hey, shout out to Unk, man.
Next, bro. Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Unk. He also had nothing to lose, and that helps a bunch, but sky's the limit for him. I think the sky is the limit for Lonnie as well. I thought this fight was over in the second round. I thought Lonnie was actually going to finish Moreno. I think Moreno's high guard definitely saved him more times than you would have thought, than you would have liked. But Moreno definitely had his moments in this fight. He definitely had, the speed was still there. I think the timing was still there. But the fact that Lonnie just used the range so well and his own timing was as good as it was, like he was ahead the whole fight. You know, it didn't even matter. He just battered Moreno from distance. Really, really loved the reads that he made mid-fight and the according adjustments that he made. Definitely leveraged a lot of the length that he had. So much variety in the striking. I mean, it was such a beautiful fight to watch. I think he was very well deserving of that performance bonus, even though it went to decision. He's definitely slowed some, I think, but he's still elite. Yeah, true. And I think another factor of, regarding this fight is even when Moreno was matched up against Asu originally, I always felt like he was stepping in too soon. And I wondered how that was going to affect him, because we see this a lot where fighters just make quick turnarounds after taking a lot of damage in their previous fights. And usually I'm not a big proponent of that happening. When it was Oliveira and Fiziev, when it was rumored that fight was going to happen before it switched to Gamrot, I thought Fiziev was going to knock him out. But then he got a much more favorable matchup in Gamrot where not as much is coming back his way. And with Moreno, going from Asu to Lonnie is like, I think it's quite the opposite in that you were getting a much more dangerous striking matchup with a guy that could put you out. Moreno's only 32 and Cheeto's 33. Yeah, it's nuts. Moreno is technically still in his physical prime. So again, he's been in a lot of wars. He's had a long career. He started very young. I'm not willing to write off Moreno at this stage. I still think there are winnable fights for him in this division. But for Lone'er Kavanagh, he is a future title challenger, 100%. I think he is a shoe-in for a top 5 matchup next. He should be fighting well into the top 5. He just beat the number 6 guy. I think the guy I'm looking at is Royval. I would love to see him fight Royval. If Royval is still around, I think there is kind of the question of whether he'll move up to bantamweight, which I wouldn't mind. I think that could be a good move for him as well. But look, man, Kavanagh has to kill some time here. The Pantoja rematch is going to happen with Van. Koppa's in line. Kyoji Horiguchi's in line. I think if he beats Royval, he kind of really cements his place at the top of the division. Yeah, he's definitely got some mileage. Moreno really took Pantoja to split decision loss to. Yeah, that was a war. I think that is the fight where you can say that Moreno kind of slowed up after, because he did beat Albazi, he did beat Urseg, but how good are those wins really aging at this stage,
Yeah, not great.
So I think this is one of the craziest bounce backs I've ever seen from fight to fight in MMA history, to be quite honest with you. I can't recall a time where I've seen a guy literally get KO'd by Charles Johnson, get a fight against a top 6 contender and a former champion and look that good. And just thoroughly outclass him. So I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. But what a rebound. But yeah, again, the flyweight line is packed. So do the Royval fight. Again, Royval is that guy who's always kind of near the top. He's always right there. He's always dangerous. He's always one win away from another title shot. So if Kavanagh does beat Royval, that is a statement win. That is him saying, yeah, I belong in that top tier. And it's a high risk, high reward fight for both guys. So in terms of what's next for Moreno, like he's not getting kicked out of the rankings or anything, but as Brody was mentioning, he's got a lot of miles. He's only 32, but it's been such a long career for him. So the fight I like, Chris, you actually mentioned it earlier, Brandon Moreno versus Alex Perez. I think this is a tough fight, but it is winnable for Brandon Moreno. It's a fresh matchup for him. It's one that I think he could win. It's one I think either guy could win. It kind of depends what version of Alex Perez we're getting, but it's tough, man. Brandon Moreno is a guy that a lot of people like. He's a good guy. I'm definitely a fan of Brandon Moreno. So
100%.
To see him go down like this sucks, but at the same time, man, Lonnie is the truth. We got something good out of it with Lone'er Kavanagh. He is going to be a real player in this division.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add on to that. I think you said it perfectly. I do like the Alex Perez fight, especially because Moreno's kind of cycled through flyweight. It feels like, especially the top 10 guys, not really 11 through 15, but yeah, Perez definitely deserves to fight up after kind of brutally knocking out Energy, and then Moreno losing to unranked Lone'er Kavanagh. But all credit to Kavanagh, man. He went out there and he took it to a very, very good opponent in a very difficult place to fight, and he was game. He really was. You guys remember the Isaac Dolgarian rigged fight?
We remember. We remember the money we lost to.
His former coach was James Krause, same dude from years ago, got caught rigging fights and ruined bet. Yep, that makes sense. I didn't even know James Krause was his coach, but if you had to ask me, probably would have said it was him. Wait, how is he his coach? I thought he got kicked out of MMA.
He said his former coach.
Oh, former coach. Okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can't read. Yeah. Thank you for filling in the blanks there. I mean, that makes sense. 100%. Well, hopefully we get a little bit more light on that, because
we're not getting any light on that.
Probably not.
We've told it to you guys before, and we tend to stray away from talking about that stuff because that's all FBI stuff, but we're not. The UFC is going to cover it up. They're not going to want to talk about it.
I mean, especially because it kind of just happened again with the Michael Johnson Alex Hernandez fight, when that fight was completely.
It happens. It happens on every card, quite frankly. Like, there's no avoiding.
Definitely does. My buddy moved to Kansas City and trained at a gym. He's a fighter, age young UFC fighter. Yep, trained there, and a few more UFC guys did and left because he's rigging fights for everyone. Horrible coach. Wow, that's insane. I actually like Gage Young. I'm a fan of him. Good for those guys. Good career choice for them to not get caught up in that, because it's just nothing but trouble. But yeah, we try and stay out of it because unless big news breaks and we can cover it with our journalistic ability and integrity, we will do that for you guys. But yeah, it's right now it's just a lot of smoke and clouds. But yeah, I'm sure it happens on every card, especially with them saying it was 600 fighters or what was it? It was a lot of fights. There's like 600 fighters.
In essence, basically 2 fights per card, at least.
Pretty much. But
and it probably is still going on. So
exactly. We may know, we may never know. But one thing we do know is Lone'er Kavanagh is here. He's legit. Great bounce back win for him. And is Moreno washed? In some eyes, maybe. In other eyes, he's still elite. I'm kind of teetering on the fence, but yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Late night stream. Some good interaction.
Hey, real quick. We'll give you guys the content schedules. Obviously, UFC 326 is this week. We are gonna get that out for you guys. Hopefully Thursday. We're gonna shoot for Thursday. I know we say these things and it comes out a day later, but Thursday we're shooting for it. And then also maybe we come out with another video,
Good. Also, Dana White said White House is probably going to get announced this week. So if that happens, we'll be back here and we'll be live streaming, answering all your guys' questions. We love the interactions. We love the engagement.
We'll also talk about 327 because they announced the full card.
But we could do that. That's gonna be an absolute banger.
Brody, thank you, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Brody. Let's go. I'm glad you like the content. We're just out here having fun, talking with you guys, talking ball. And so it's always a good time with Shrikar. And Sam, you just subbed. You don't even know who Sam is.
You don't even know who Sam is.
But yeah, go watch the prediction video for this card, and you'll see who Sam is. He's hard at work right now. So we're rooting for him and completely understand why he's not able to make it. But yeah, good card. Lone'er Kavanagh, absolute dog. Follow the socials below on Instagram, X, YouTube. Obviously, we're on YouTube right now. But yeah, it's been a long night. Glad to talk ball with you guys. For Shrikar Rajendran, I'm Chris Schroyer. We'll see you on the flip side.